Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bushwhacking History in Buffalo with Berserker Bear. Okay, so let's just get right into it. Yesterday was my wife's birthday, and we went to the Buffalo Museum of Science. And I'm going to present what we did. I'll show you where it is on the map. As always, come back to my YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe. And if I haven't posted a video in a while, there's always a link on the top bottom right. You might not be able to see it out of screen a little bit, but you can get to my IG from my YouTube. So I post there quite frequently, and ideas that I have as I go throughout my day and as I see stuff. So we'll bounce off that a little bit. There's some pictures in there that I showed, and for example, found Tartaria again. They had one of these little globe things, awesome projector. I don't necessarily agree with the platform, but a very cool application. That thing spins and rotates, and you can actually toggle dates. So on that date, that's labeled in that area. I digress for now, but we're going to go over that. I got a blank screen here. Infogalactics is a good alternative for real information that's not censored as opposed to Wikipedia. So there you go. Also, a little bit of a Hollywood Easter egg. Sprinkle a little bit of gravy here for you.
Hollywood bigwigs have jetted into town tonight as another night of action continues on the 33 for the filming of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Route 33 once again shut down tonight for all of this. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Ed Granch there right now. Now, he had a chance to speak with the movie's producers earlier tonight. Ed?
Whoa, what's going on there? Actually, yeah, so that movie, I'll show you exactly where the Buffalo Museum of Science is on the 33. The 33 is where they filmed portions of this movie. Never seen it. Can't believe that I didn't see it, but if you could see, it's not that rated well, or it's not rated that well on IMDb. I just brought this up right at the last second because I remembered that this movie was filmed here, and because the Buffalo Museum of Science is off the 33, well, why not? And I like movies, but I never seen this one, so how dare I? Maybe I will. Anyway, it was filmed here, and I'll show you. They have little bits of we'll find out where the clips are. There you go. So we'll look at that in a little bit, but I'm just going to go over the pictures that I have here. Again, it was my wife's birthday. Shout out Mrs. Berserker Bear, and some cool hijinks. So I'll play some music, and there goes Little Bear next to the bear. So that's what we got. Let's find out where we are. Let's allocate ourselves. Now, you say, where is the Buffalo Museum of Science, Dustin? Well, let's hit fire. And in the meantime, play some tunes. So welcome back. Please hit me up at Bushwhacking History in Buffalo. I put out movies and I do stuff that my research. I present it. I walk on what I research, and I like to show you guys. So I read from books that I have conversations with some legends. There you go. And you can always get to my Instagram from there. So, Buffalo Museum of Science, we're already there. Interesting area of town. My father grew up in this area, and a very cool feature is, if you notice right away, obviously the big roundabout, and this was an old fountain. I believe that the water still goes in the summer, but they used to be a lot bigger, and my father remembers when he was a kid that there were a lot bigger fountains in this thing. So let's actually go back in time, though, because I have these pulled up. Now, this is an 1880 4K map of Buffalo. And I also have, what year is this? I always forget, 1902, I think, off the top of my head. There you go. So, remember the feature. Now, let's check back to the 1880 and see the progression of time here. I know where it is to look for it, but in 1880 there wasn't that much settlement out here, as you can imagine. radiates out from the city center, which is the Niagara Square. But you have this swath in the land road. Now let's go back to kind of see it a little bit. Now this is how I like triangulate when I'm out bushwhacking. So we got that swath right there. Got the swath there. Now let's check out the 1902 one. And it's a lot more. So in 1880, from 1880 to 1902, look at all the build out that's happened. And there goes Humboldt Parkway. And the swath is still there. And the radial is a little bit more defined. Well, not radial, but the fountain. So has to do with water. I haven't done this area specifically yet as far as boots on the ground, but the fact that my father grew up in this area, I figured that I would show you at least for context, and you guys can access these 4K videos on the Library of Congress website under panoramics. And I think I've said that before, but just so you know. Okay, so not going to be too long of a video. I just wanted to show you what I was doing yesterday with the fam. We went to Dave & Buster's also. And one thing that stuck out to me, maybe I'll go over this a little bit more in depth on a live session for you guys actually, because I was going to play through all this like a slideshow, but I think it's more of a, it's more utilitous for me to actually show you what I've been putting out on my IG lately because of the notion of, I'll just address it directly, impossible architecture. So I understand the tenets of mud flood and Tartaria, resets, impossible architecture, Antiquitech, as we've been studying it in this community, me myself for the past year. And I guess I have done an about face on certain aspects of each, not taking away from the idea of the old world, that there were civilizations here previously, but as I've hammered down before in videos, again, come to my YouTube channel, I forget which ones exactly. I can actually put them in the description. I'll actually do my homework on this one to find out where I detail this, but actually check out Broing Out on Brotaria with Wooden Nickels and C. Vasilis and I think we address it in there a little bit. But again, impossible architecture, as with Tartaria being a blanket term, so to speak, in mud flood, now I think differently about it in a certain way. Again, it's not taken away from the idea that there were civilizations here before that are buried. Just have a different idea as to what we think the mud flood is. Anyway, impossible architecture, I've been hammering lately on my YouTube channel about these things. So if you come back and you look over here, this thing is called a treadwheel crane. Okay, now look at I'm getting a lot of pushback on this, and I really appreciate that actually. So keep firing, because it lets me know where I'm at, as far as not even saying no trolls, but I understand people when they're presented with some information that they might not have been privy to otherwise. You're always going to get that initial flare up, so that's cool. And again, they're signposts. This is an ancient treadwheel crane. Now you also take that in combination with something like block and tackle, which is effectively just a pulley system, but you can double up on them, triple up on them, and move tremendous weight with not that much force whatsoever. And remember what Archimedes said, give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world. There you go. And a very simple, crude example of that in the ancient world. Oh, where did I post it? Here we go. From the Sumerians, of course, right? They're responsible for a lot of things. Canals, the wheel, I believe. These guys are the first civilizations where you get from hunter-gatherers to farmers, and then you get surplus, and then specialties arise, and then you get civilization. So these guys were using lever systems off of the Archimedes principle way back then, and you build off of that, and then you get stuff like I said, treadwheel crane. They did have cranes. They did have pulley systems. Now you say, well, they can lift stuff up and down on that and vertically. And I got some comments saying that you can't maneuver it. I believe that comes from them saying that, or at least archaeologists saying they moved these blocks from dams. Great point. What I say to that is, well, they might have poured them, and I've addressed that as well. So let's get back to what they say here in the actual museum itself. So impossible architecture, to round off on that, I don't think it was impossible. And it's set in tandem with horse and buggy, which is maybe not intentionally misleading, but misleading nonetheless, because you're putting out the idea that we couldn't have built these structures 100 years ago, because you have horse and buggies in the same picture of these beautiful cathedrals and works of architecture. And that's a little bit of a red herring. So this is what I wanted to show you guys also first. My daughter loved this thing. Check this out. What's that?
Press all different ones.
It'll show up on there, Kylie. And check this other. You could change it from the Death Star.
Where's
to
the beam? Death Star is actually.
I want to show you.
That's
guys.
what I'm looking for, babe.
Here we go.
Looks like the only bought your parents for that gift.
Very cool.
Let's see if we can find Tartaria, Kylie.
I always joke around with my daughter. Is that Tartaria? And she's like, no, Dad, that's not Tartaria. But we know they call it architecture. And again, I got the books to reference against what exactly. So we're in that region. And again, you could toggle this thing through the ages. I just did this one on a whim. Now watch what happens here.
Kylie, go sit with Mom.
She was on it already.
I'm looking for something, Kai.
Dad's getting all selfish with the globe application. Trying to find Tartaria, little girl. She's a good sport, and she was already on it previously. She wanted to get back on it, but Dad had to find Tartaria. And again, I say this, I've addressed blanket term, just like you use barbarian. The Roman state called the Germanics barbarians as well as the Huns, and they're completely different tribes. So just a blanket term. With that,
Wow.
That's why I say Tartarian architecture. I don't say it anymore, but I'm using the blanket term to describe why some might use it in the flippant manner. Because it's a region on old
Rich.
maps,
Found Tartaria.
and we can discuss in another.
Yep.
Hear that?
Yep. Hey, Rach. Found Tartaria. Yep.
It's a region, so to discuss whether it was a country and a huge empire is for another episode, possibly, maybe. I'm still trying to walk on what I research. And of course, I use the internet as well, but on top of books and walking on my stuff, walking on my research, as I say. So that was cool. Found Tartaria on that globe, and I wanted to had to share that. And again, impossible architecture. I think it's a misnomer. I think what I'm trying to put out there here, if you start from, right here on my IG, I'm putting out the idea that scaffolding was around for a very long period of time back in the day. So were treadwheel cranes and block and tackle. Now with that, you can move a lot. You can move really heavy stuff, and if it's not being moved from a dam, well, maybe they're pouring it, because we could pour it now. You want to say geopolymers, whatever, I recommend Paul Cook. So he does a lot of information and videos on how they're pouring stuff that looks like stone. And if you could do that, you pour it right on the spot. You don't need to move it. Of course, they're quarrying stuff. It's just, it's not a cover story to say they were pouring everything. Of course, they're quarrying as well. That's one thing that I think that they don't show the pictures of certain buildings, is because I think that they might be hiding a certain technique of building. And I addressed that with Woody and Nicholas on one of our shows coming up. So I'm going to round this out and talk about TMNT. We'll see a clip of this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that was filmed here in Buffalo. And a preview. Again, come back to my YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. And I'm going to be having Woody's going to be dropping a video that we did, Wood and Nichols, on a Truth Drop review of the movie Spider-Man No Way Home. So stay tuned for that, and I'm probably going to be going live within the next day or two, or maybe even tonight, with my buddy Robbie to discuss some Aboriginal mounds here in Western New York and the greater New York area in general. So stick with me. Let's check this out, and I'll round it out, and that'll be an episode. Here we go.
With a couple of his state counterparts, including State Senator Tim Kennedy, got an up-close and personal tour of the set. Chris Dodd, chairman of the Motion Picture Association, is also in Buffalo on top of an SUV. With so many people here that way, they movie. Right behind me, a little bit further down the 33 eastbound, you can see that bright light and some cars and crews now going that way. They just came speeding toward us as part of a chase scene, is what it's believed to be. This is night 4 of filming for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 2 movie. Get a look at this new video we shot tonight, showing some of the action from what happened here. Stunt doubles dressed in dark clothing with red lights attached to them for CGI effects were riding on motorcycles alongside a big truck that film crews were recording with a camera jib mounted on top of an SUV. With so many people here in Buffalo to shoot even this short sequence over a 2-week period, millions of dollars are coming into the city's coffers through hotel, food, and hospitality expenses. Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown, along with a couple of his state counterparts, including State Senator Tim Kennedy, got an up-close and personal tour of the set. Chris Dodd, chairman of the Motion Picture Association, is also in Buffalo for the night alongside some of the producers of this movie. We spoke with the executive producer just a short time ago.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And now where that was actually, Buffalo Museum of Science. Now we'll round it out actually with doing some geography here in Buffalo. We have the 33 here, which again is in line with the numerology that I believe is very prevalent in this region. So you have the 33, which splits in two and goes one goes towards downtown, or one section goes towards the airport and other section goes towards downtown. And if you can see right here, let's actually do information, everything. Okay, so you see the 33 Beltway right here, 33, and the Kensington Expressway. You got, this is where it was filmed over here, because it's subset into the ground a little bit. And actually, if you go out far enough, you hit the airport. So it was filmed on this section of the 33, not this section. This section is where the, if you see my cursor, that's where the Buffalo Museum of Science is, right here, boom. Okay, so, you know, like RV Truth would say, you got the dual 33s, but I digress. And I got to get more boots on the ground for you coming up. It's, right now it's like 25 degrees out, freezing, so that definitely puts a damper on things. But anyway, thanks for coming back. As always, I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, and if I haven't posted a video in a minute, which doesn't really happen too often, but I'm always doing something over on my IG. So I appreciate everybody. Much love. God bless, and I'll catch you on the next one.